Just a quick one. You had used an incantation a couple of
days
ago. Did you want to, or was it one of your? Was it a card? I know you used one of your ephemera.
Yeah, there was one that I did.
Oh no, it's the cat leaf.
Yeah, that went and. What did that do?
So I remember, basically, I know that you used one of your ephemerae. I'm fairly certain it was the.
Yeah, there was cat leaf, but I can't remember what it did.
After ingesting this herb, you can see magic residuum, such that if a spell or other magical practice has been cast or performed in the area near you since the last sunrise, you can identify it.
Yes.
So that means that you can either replace that with one of the ephemera objects from your storehouse, because you've got your shelves in your house, and have another one that you carry.
Yeah, because I've only got one in there now.
Yeah. I think you've got.
Well, no, it was the only one that was in my hand.
Okay. So you don't forget you've got the opportunity to sort of take a little bit of time, because I'm not sure you're going to come. So does anybody recall where we left off?
Only because you reminded me earlier. We went to the Travellers of the What's It Path thing. I went, can we join you? And you're like, they went, yeah, we're leaving tomorrow. We'll be here about 11, I think it is, or something like that. If you want to join us, just come along. And we said, how safe is it? And they went, not very. We said, okay, we'll go and chat to Caliburn about it.
Yeah, that's the last thing, is what does Caliburn want to do, is what the last thing I wrote.
Yeah.
So, first card is the Angel, the Defender of Notions. So you head off back to the Rose, because you were out, still in Saturnine, but in.
We went to a different pub there.
Yeah. That's it. Oh, that's it. You get the train back from the Hall of Goetic Hall of Records.
We saw them.
And you just saw these guys.
So we jumped the train, didn't we?
Yeah. That's the train that took it from there. Game narrative. Divination. Once you take this opportunity to look for an ally, or at least shelter, someone or something brings out there can help the person in question. The Angel brings justice as it passes judgment. As long as one is not found wanting, this card turn suggests that external forces bring assistance or succour.
That's quite positive.
Yeah.
We've not really had a positive card as far as I can remember.
Yeah, we went to a fancy tea room across from the Goetic Hall. That's what I vaguely remember. Not the last thing I noted.
NPC on the PC's behalf. The PC finds shelter or protection when needed. The PC finds light in the darkness.
Ooh. Potential.
Oh my god, that is really
Yeah, I had that one. So back at the Rose. Roland dives upstairs to do Roland stuff.
Roland has gone to do Roland stuff.
Pretend that.
Rolandizing.
To Roland dies.
If he keeps all of his details of the names of the demons he's got and angels he's got organised with in a kind of.
He's a Rolodex.
He's gone to Roland eyes. Here's Rolodex.
Like a Pokedex, but I'm totally going to make a go at it that does that.
As their own little monsters.
Yeah.
Summon little monsters, that'd be cool.
That would work, wouldn't it? That works, yeah. Team up with a maker that will make little Pokeballs, just with like a demon trap on the inside of it. Yes. Iblis, Lord of the Third Hell, I choose you!
You go searching for him as well.
Iblis,
That's
use temptation!
Whole point of
It's
the
super
game.
effective.
It's great epic.
You know how there's like a maker world and a... Is there a goetic world?
Well, yeah. Well,
Maker's
technically,
like the creative blah blah
Yeah.
blah. So what the goetic thing?
well, generally speaking, because Goetics would summon ghosts and spirits
Silver
and demons
Maybe.
and
Silver.
angels, so the silver, the red, the dark, the pale,
Okay.
Bit of everything.
yeah, the
Right.
green for summoning life spirits, they don't have a thing.
Okay.
The silver's not really the maker world, but it's just they're kind of tied with it because the whole creation thing.
Silly.
It's like when you put ink in water and you do the whole. So, Caliban.
Back at the Rose and Roland goes to Roland dies.
I'm gonna put
It's
his
Roland
Roland
X.
index.
Dies his Roland dies the Roland X. So is that what you call it? It's a box of tissues.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's a joke that I saw watching The Lion King. Me, I've never seen this before. My wife hands me a box of tissues. Me, I'm hardly going to jack off to a bunch of lions, Karen. Yeah. And it's. Do we work out what day of the week it is? Does it matter?
No, I don't think we did,
I
but
don't think we've ever said.
No.
I'm not sure we've ever said what day of the week is.
So it's the
I
kind
can't
of.
imagine Saturine's like a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday place.
No, no.
So,
The city that does not know how to sleep. Please let it sleep. And so there's the sort of usual crowd, and there's the one guy who's doing the whole propping up the bar, and he's got a perpetually half-empty pint glass in front of him. It's not anything that you actually serve in the bar, but he's just always there. He drinks other stuff, but there's half-empty pint glass just in front of him. He's the kind of bloke down there, sleeping on the bar. And
it's kind of late afternoon, isn't it?
yeah, probably.
I think we should wait till kick out and after kick out to have the conversation. I think.
I don't know. Kick-out's quite late, probably. And also, things might need preparing. We've only got till tomorrow to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I reckon Eliana's probably like preparing stuff for dinner orders. Because people start coming in for like
Mhm.
early dinners and like chopping all the stuff she needs and scotch and all the preparing the scotch. Vats of meat, vats of breadcrumbs.
You freeze well, so they just come out of the freezer, shove them in the oven.
Need a scotched hog roast tonight.
Scotch, roast potatoes.
That's a hog roast pizza recently, I think.
One does not simply see hog roast pizza.
Purchase hog roast pizza and bring it to my belly.
Your Christmas dinner sorted.
Well, yeah. Don't see why not.
My sister suggested, because we're having Christmas up with her, she's like, "Oh yeah, we can have a veg roast dinner," and Dave just went, "I don't think so. We will be cooking. We will be cooking chicken in your vegetarian household, just like we eat chicken nuggets in your vegetarian household."
Yeah, so Eliana's at the back and Caliburn's behind the bar.
But there's nobody really that she's serving, so
Uh-huh.
I think I'm gonna like wave to Eliana and just kind of say, "Oh, can you mind the bar as well? I just want to have a chat with Caleb in a minute."
Uh-huh.
We're going to go over to the table and like,
She comes out from the back in the kitchen and she's got a welding mask on. A welding torch. This souffle's not going well.
It's like scotching the hog roast, but I had to kill the hog first.
I scotched the souffle. like
eggs of a sort, isn't it?
I'm like, yeah. It's like Arctic roll. It shouldn't work, but it really does. Anyway, souffle the scotch. I think like Caliban just turns deli and he goes, "This is why I love this woman."
Okay. Situation is this.
We went to, because you knew that we were going off to the Goetic Hall and having a look around things. There wasn't a whole lot of information there, but one of the things that just kept popping up again and again and again that can cause this kind of sickness is the fact that you've been jumping around the suns. Okay. There's a couple of different options. One is that there's a group of people who called the Travellers. Are they?
That's what I've got written here anyway.
Travellers of the Way. And they go the right way along the suns. And it's a bit of a time consuming, but it's adventure and things like that. Or you can go directly to the Invisible Sun. Have you heard of this?
Which is not an easy feat to do.
Which nobody knows where it is because it's invisible. We don't know what to expect, and etc. etc. And the Warden of the Invisible Sun, I'm making this up again. The Warden of the Invisible Sun may or may not heal you, but we don't know. We don't know anything about it, and it may make you worse. However, the travelling the path of the suns is relatively tried, relatively tested, and as far as any of these things are. But it's not us, it's your body, and we are more than prepared to go with you and support you through this. Because actually, I'm sure you're aware that we have a bond together and common goals. You may not be aware of everything about them, but this would be kind of aligned with some of our goals as well. So
You're
it's
one
not
with
like putting us out
so
of our,
she's one of us, really.
But it's not putting us out of our way. We want to help you and we want to support you as part of our family.
So, yeah.
Family.
One is time consuming, but hopefully a lot safer. The other one is completely
not massively
unknown.
safe.
Oh, yeah.
But considering going to the Invisible somewhere, we don't know exactly where it is or how to get there, or do what you do anyway, but just travel it properly, and hopefully that will realign some kind of thing.
Mojo.
Yeah. I have to say, as she kind of sits forward and leans on the table, not you know me or don't know me. I don't know. My whole thing was always travel. Point A to point B, shortest route. So much so that even when I was in shadow, that's what I did. I'd always avoided travelling the path the way that the path goes, because it's pedestrian and so that's not a relishing thought. And the thought of going to all of the suns with no magic
was particularly tough to mention.
Yeah. And she kind of holds her arms up. She got goosebumps all the way down her arm, and they're actual little pads of geese. So, as you can understand, that's not a wonderful prospect, and you you know that I'm not exactly fond of the Invisible Church and the orthodox teachings as to why there are all of these different orders and the severed hand of Visla, the goddess that watches over everything. She has power, yep, we know there's power. I've been a living conduit of that thing, but the way that... And she kind of reaches into her bag and she pulls out, you know, you guys all carry a thing called a testament, and I'm not sure if I've kind of dug into it much, but she doesn't carry one, but she has it's like a metal wand, all sorts of different geometrical shapes just kind of stuck together, and she kind of lands it on the table, and it lands with a thump, like it's made of like hematite or real dense metal. I carry that because that's me.
Can I take a look?
You do.
Naked.
Yeah. And I carry that in the same way that you guys carry that hand thing.
Is there any what's on it? Is it just the shapes, or is there runes and stuff on it?
It's just plain metal. You know where you get those kind of chunky hematite bracelets? It's like that, but it's one long piece, and it's almost been seamlessly and organically pared down to the different shapes. There is a picture somewhere.
Yeah, so it's very Caliban.
Yeah. And thank you. And no two of us Visley who don't follow the orders of the church have one of these that's the same. I'm not sure if you guys have ever actually compared your severed god hand things, but they are identical. They take on gifts, but the physicality of it is the same. And again, that's not me. When she kind of puts it back in her back pocket, takes whatever drink that she's been drinking, and just she's taking my drink of it, and goes, so these travellers, when are they leaving?
Tomorrow.
There's not a lot of time to think it through, but you have to do what's best in your heart, because you are you. We're all unique, but you are something special. So you've got to do what's... We want you to get better. It may or may not happen, but we want to help. And we have to do that with what's true to you. We can't force you to do it. We could have just gone, we're going tomorrow whether you like it or not, but we're not doing it.
And she turns around and she looks at Eliana behind the bar. And she kind of looks back, and you can just see that there's tears started to form in her face. Neither of these journeys she can come on, really. Right.
I don't know why she can't come in. I mean, apart from plot devices, but
She's
Not one with...
she's not Vizsla, is she?
Yeah.
She's something else.
And we can't risk her being...
I need to talk it through with her.
It's alright if I stay here tonight.
Yeah. Of course, there's spare rooms. Obviously. Yourself as well.
Chores. They don't leave till nearly lunchtime tomorrow. If you have the nut to chat it through and let us know first thing in the morning, we'll get the stuff together that we need if we need to go, and if we don't, then we'll take it from there.
Figure out where we need to go and research the crap out of potentially getting to the Invisible Sun. So, yeah. One is known, one is very unknown.
You just like born with the testament?
Hmm?
You just
No,
born...
it kind of... it's not detailed in the books what happens when you become Visley.
You become Visley, you're not born Visley. How do you become Visley? It's not detailed.
There's nothing in the backstory to it. The way I kind of see it is that Visley tend to beget Visley. It's a bit like the Wizarding World, Harry Potter.
They're born a wizard.
Or they can be squibs and be noms, which are people who don't have magic, who aren't Visley. But sometimes you get like spontaneous people who can become Visley. Sometimes
Again, it's to become
like Hermione. She doesn't have any magic uses.
Wizarding blood.
No, but she's still born that way. These people are not born in any way. And what, that hits them at puberty, or they have a ceremony and then they're magic, or
Yeah, because I think if I really remember, we didn't necessarily choose which order we fell into. It was what we ended up with. It's you kind of found your way to it. So you could have been any of them, but you kind of have a natural affinity.
And sometimes it's aptitude, and then a ceremony. Sometimes it's literally a bolt from the blue. Like you're just walking along and then boom, you're a Visley.
Okay, but the boom hasn't happened for any, although she got crazy magics and
She's got
she got something.
Yeah.
Because when she was in grey, it was all weird, wasn't it? Yeah.
So she looks a bit dejected, but she gets up and goes back behind the bar, gives Eliana a peck on the cheek, and then Eliana kind of flips up the welding mask, because she left the welding mask on, kind of serving drinks. It's like flaming sambuca. She got the welding torch. There you go.
Lemon Guinness.
Flaming whiskey. Yes. Flaming cappuccino. Why not? There's one of those machines with the Sahara's coated peanuts, and it's like they're not hot enough. Yeah, so she flips up the mask and she looks quite sort of perturbed, and you can kind of tell that the only line that Caliban's used is "we need to talk," and that's never ever a good
time. Very ready. Do you want to head behind the bar to give them some space to talk, and I'll head into the kitchen?
I'll work the bar.
Okay.
We do this.
So the kitchen now is set up, and there is.
I don't need it. I'll just lather it. I don't need it.
You know the bratwurst stall that's in town at the moment with the big kind of thing that's hanging.
Dave's favourite place.
Yeah. There's one of those that's just kind of like covered in bratwursts, and then there's a hog roast, and the big. On mine. So pig on it with like 8 legs. Octo pig.
Octo pig. Spider pig. Literally spider pig.
Yeah, but would you eat it?
It's just like it's not an actual spider pig. It just has 8 legs.
It's not very.
I got for Halloween. Sainsbury's did. They called it Rufus the Spider Pug.
I remember the picture.
But Dave actually got me one. And he's like a little pug dressed up as a spider. So he has like a little spider hat and he's got so he looks like Pug, but he's got a little spider suit on top of him. He's so cute.
Apparently the collective noun for a group of pugs is a grunting.
Oh, so grumble.
A grumble.
Grumble. Literally. The snorty grumble.
A friend of mine did the family tree looking up family names and things. Her great granny was called Grimble. That's her first name.
Grimble. That's amazing. Grimble. Interesting.
So the evening comes and the evening goes, and the usual crowds kind of come in and go out, and then the food service is absolutely fantastic and it's a complete success because it's all leg meat and it's all kind of got that char grilled barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you're using your secret ingredient that no one knows. Actually, you've got a bit of a cook side to you, and we've never seen it before. You can barbecue.
my lava makeup has got some special stuff in it. It's like you get oak smoked, you get whatever. This is like I don't know, hematite smoked.
You know your cue.
And just as so the last punters kind of get escorted off the
I
property.
have been serving all beers with umbrellas, by the way.
Some of them little cocktail umbrellas. Some of them quite big
Garden
umbrellas.
Gothic. The smaller the glass, the bigger the umbrella.
Basically.
Yeah.
All shots come with a giant sun parasol. You're good to go.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. It's the same angel. It's covered with wings. From every bell that's chimed since the beginning of time, it longs to die, but it can't. It seeks release.
Yep.
Right. And so you just kind of put the latch of the bolts across the door, and just as you turn around on the door.
1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 19? Is that the person who knocks 4 times? There's somebody who knocks 4 times.
Can we see, is there any windows latched thing on the door, or do you have to open it to
People.
There's people now. Okay.
I'll look through the people.
Yeah. You can't see anybody there.
There's 19.
Hello?
Oh, where we're closed.
Oh, would you let the guy in?
Oh. Okay. I open the door.
Okay. And the reason why you couldn't see anybody is because even the top of Dennis's hair is below the level of the people, and he kind of squirrels in really quickly. And goes, close the door, would you? Close the door.
Yeah. Greetings, Dennis. How can we help you?
I didn't know where else to go. I'm back.
Well, last time we saw you were on the Silver. What are you doing here?
Oh, yeah, the Maker's Enclave, huh? Well, I had a bit of a problem, and I had to get out of town, so I left, and I was traveling for a bit, and I realized I needed a hand, and I needed some friends, and I gotta be honest, you guys are the closest things I've got. Crazy, huh?
What did you do?
Oh,
The fact that you're having to hide and your general demeanour right now is you're in trouble, aren't you?
hey, I've been in trouble ever since I left this damn city.
More trouble than
Have they cleared up that patch of town?
Beige.
Oh, I can fix that. I know how to fix that.
No.
I've got something.
No.
And he kind of pulls out, and he's got like a little test tube. And it's kind of bubbling all sorts of different rainbow colours.
No.
I can put it back.
No.
I've worked it out.
No. We need to know what you've done wrong in order to answer whether we're able to help you or not.
Okay. You see, I was stationed in the Silver Sun. Yeah, in the city, in the Enclave of Makers. And that...
Why have you got enough energy to be playing this character right now?
I don't know.
Okay, carry on. Don't question it. Go.
Keep going.
And the whole town is filled with makers and craftsmen and artisans, and it is absolutely fantastic, and it's great. And
We've been there, we know.
I was working. Yeah, the blue. That was some high grade colour that you bought me. If you ever get any more of that stuff, I'll buy it off you. It was fantastic. Now, I was working, and I'd done it, and I cracked the secret of tartan paint. You were there. You saw the tartan paint, didn't you? Yeah, fantastic.
Didn't the explosion follow us or something?
Yeah, there was a big explosion. It went everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had a bit of a problem with the rest of my lab, and my lab assistant was an angel named Jeff, and he was cool, but he didn't have any arms. I kept on asking him to pass me stuff, and he kind of got the hump with me. And I thought, hey, if you're going to get the hump with me, you might as well be a camel. So I turned him into a camel. Some other angels didn't like it. I had to leave.
This is a Thomas level.
Yeah. So I came here, and I realized I was walking through Saturine, and I was just in an absolute blur, which for me is crazy because, you know, I got my specs, and then he's got these big lab goggles on, and he kind of lifts them up, and his eyes are just tiny little black dots. So
Like the lady from Star Wars.
no, smaller than that. So where he lifts his glasses up, his eye sockets are completely featureless, just with like a tiny dot in the middle of it. And he puts his glasses back down, and he's got sort of big, like
black eyes.
you know, no, like Robin from Lego Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally picture that.
And
Very
I
much
came
so.
across this place, and I could feel the wards you got around here. That's some good magic. So I thought, hey, I'll come and see. And it's you guys, my favourite couriers. Yeah. Where's that Harlequin chap? He always hooked me up with some good colour. Yeah, I need a drink. Got anything to drink around here?
What do you want?
Anything that's hot and spicy.
Okay. Sit down. I'll go grab something hot and spicy. Snowball. Calm him down and figure out what the hell. Why did he turn an angel into a... Why is turning an angel into a camel?
He'd be
such a bad thing?
crazy. That's why.
He's on something. More than colour. Right. Where's it going?
I think we're making a drink.
I'm going to make him a hot
But
chocolate.
to be honest with
cinnamon
you,
whiskey in
there's
it.
so much stuff going on.
Cinnamon whiskey. Hot chocolate.
So much stuff going on. I don't think it should be a
Unless...
Caliban's ill enough, Aliena and she having a talk. We've got lots of things to prepare. Either whatever she decides, we've got to sort some stuff out.
I do have one question. So I bring you a drink. It's a hot chocolate with cinnamon whiskey in it. So spicy and delicious.
So he's kind of sat in one of the big armchairs, and
His little feet swinging at the end.
yeah, off the edge of it, and his hair's just kind of up against the top of it, and then he takes the hot chocolate, and it, you know, the bit in Bree in the Lord of the Rings, it's a, what's that? This is a pint. It comes in pints, and it's that kind of big, and I presume it's got all of the.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so as he holds it and he's kind of looking at it, the way that the whipped cream's gone just kind of turns to mirror his hair.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic. And then he kind of drinks it, but it kind of the cream splatters in front of his face. And oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. Oh, you have to give me the recipe for that one. Purest brown and red.
Okay, you can have the recipe. But I have a question for you.
I'm all ears.
How?
And then he pulls his hair back and he's got 4 sets of ears down his side.
How well are you travelled up and down the path of the Suns?
There's very few places I haven't been.
Have you, or do you know anybody, when I do know that this is a rare thing, ever been to the Invisible? Or know of a way to get there? Heard of a way to get there?
Well, that's
It's a big question. If you don't know, it's fine. It's just there's a tiny chance.
Just leave him to answer it.
Yeah.
because you all know the way the Path of Suns works. And then he kind of takes the big mug of hot chocolate and reaches a little hand inside it, and he kind of dips a finger into it, and then as he takes his finger out, it's kind of like the leftover hot chocolate, you know, the really gorgeous but sickly sweet slimy stuff at the bottom of it kind of comes out. It's got melted marshmallows and bits and whatever on, and he kind of spins it, and then it forms into like almost a 3-dimensional version of the Path of Suns, and that's kind of rotating slowly on the table. And then he kind of taps the top of them, and they all turn into the appropriate colours. He says, you realise that this thing we call the path. It's just a conceptualization of different levels of reality. And it's about perception of the way things work as much as it is different places. So as your mind takes on different ideas, you become kind of tuned in to the different suns and the different levels. There's reports of people who've been so angry that they've actually managed to transport themselves straight to the red, because the red's all about anger and destruction, and you know about these kind of things. I don't have to teach you this. This is Bisley 101, you know. And in the same way that when you sleep, part of you at least will go to the blue. I love blue. Blue is amazing. I get my best ideas from the deeps of sleep. Although that Prince of Nightmares that lives there, ooh, steer clear of him. Bad kind of guy. So everything, almost everything in creation is in the actuality. Sorry, not creation, because that's the silver sun. That's fantastic. Oh, I can't go back. But if I can't tap into the silver sun for creation, how am I going to make things? What in the hell you call a maker that can't make things? Anyway, I digress. Everything in the actuality is a reflection and a refraction of the truth of the suns. So it's a little bit of all of the suns that makes up all of you. You've got change, you've got destruction, you've got rebirth. There's an element of shadow inside everybody, and there's an element of death inside everybody, because every day, every second, your body's dying and then rebuilding itself. It's the whole path, all in one hit. But the invisible sun is that spark. There's no physicality to it. There's no thing that you can quantify to it. It's that thing that makes us magic. And you're asking how you can get there. Well, I suppose if you can surround yourself with nothing but the aspect of that sun, because the easy way to get to the red sun is through a gateway in the undersling in a pub. Yeah, y'all been there, I can tell. And that place is full of hatred and breakdown, and it's a raw, concentrated, like a sinkhole in reality. And it'll pull you straight through, plumb in the middle of the sun that you want to get to. You following me? Yeah. Well, it kind of stands to reason that if y'all can just take a massive, and I'm talking massive amount of magic, that might make a sinkhole to the invisible sun.
That sounds crazy dangerous.
It was never going to
Crazy
be.
dangerous is my middle name.
It was
It
never
is.
going to be.
Crazy dangerous waters.
Prio. Actually, no. My middle name's Jeff.
I thought the
Angel was called
angel was called Jeff.
It's a very common name. There's more than one person called Jeff.
Is that why you chose him?
I don't rightly remember.
Doesn't
Why
matter.
Why the hell would I choose an assistant that didn't have any arms?
Well, did he have arms to begin with and he lost them somehow?
I really don't remember. No, I don't remember him ever having arms. What the hell was I thinking?
What the hell were you thinking turning him into a camel? That was never going to go down well.
We make a sinkhole using crazy amounts of magic. What's to stop the whole of Santorini going down into it?
It's a risk we take, but it was all this thing was never going to be.
No, I
easy.
get that, but I'm not entirely sure I'm willing to risk the whole of the Santorini, including Eliana, for what's her face?
Unless
What is her name? Brain God dead.
Caliban.
Thank you.
Unless we do it at Astraeus's in one of his crazy ass rooms.
Yeah, he's got his orbs, isn't he? All his different.
His
Yeah.
orrery.
Or
that can be contained within that space potentially.
yeah, and you know in X-Men.
Yeah.
And Professor Xavier, whatever.
Thank you.
Big thing.
Cerebro.
Cerebro thing.
Kind of it amplifies. He's got
Maybe Zora could do that.
could reflect and amplify because it's magic bouncing around inside him rather than letting it escape. If we bounce enough around, it doesn't actually have to have that much magic, but just to kind of keep it in that kind of environment that would kind of reverberate it
And amplify it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
an idea.
Yeah, I like that idea. And if we put all the wards around the outside to stop any magic escaping, that's a good idea.
And the thing is that if we're not travelling the path of the suns, we can take us long as we need. Can be a little bit more leisurely in gathering everything that we need together in order to do that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Colburn's disease will progress any further if she's not relatively sick.
I think
You
as
saying
long as
this all out loud?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's a nutball.
I think as long as she doesn't travel anymore, I think it will stay. I think it's the travelling that's making it worse.
Yeah. Mm.
He's been kind of sat there, just playing with this hot chocolate model of the.
You deal with colour.
Yeah.
How much magic does that entail? You know, could we harness a large amount of magic power from colour? It's a speciality of yours.
I think there was a chap in Shadow once said, give me a decent vantage point and a lever and I could move heaven and earth. I reckon I could make up a whole bunch of magic. Although what I would say is that we don't do it here. What I would say is we do it outside of the city, because last time I tried something like that, them stony-faced bastards called Mathara after me because apparently some whole neighbourhood turned colourless.
That was you.
Yeah?
We knew it was him.
Did we?
Yeah.
I found one of his
forgot
notebooks in the middle.
Oh,
He was in the
yeah.
census. Yeah, I got stuck there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
You guys
We-
left me.
We left her in there.
Not that I'm still bitter.
Left him in there, should we say? Left him in there. Oh, yeah. Well, we have a potential place where we could do that. But it might not be for a while.
Where's his place in the city? Let's just trace his place in the city.
It's in Fartown.
But,
From its office, I live in Fartown.
So yes, it is then. But we could get one of his lorries or build something similar and transport it. Because he transported the whole of the rows, didn't he? So there's no reason if he had something we couldn't just move it, or if he didn't have something
move it
we
to
could
outside
build
of the
it.
city.
Or hello Mega. We could build and make, and we could get like panels that would refract magic and things, and
I think it would be a
whole
group
project.
effort.
Whole project. Let's have a crafting day.
Yeah. I like that plan. Yeah, a space in which we can contain. It's going to take a lot.
I reckon.
Because I don't
I've got
think we
like,
could
what?
get enough ephemera objects together to be able to get enough magic. But if we can
Well,
harness...
Here's an idea as well. Outside of the city, there's this tree with all these television screens on it that you can kind of watch the grey. But if you watch it for too long, you kind of get sucked back in. That's true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we're saying about
Where
this.
was that?
I couldn't remember that.
It's a very clear image. And we're saying about these sinkholes. So if you're too angry, but if you're surrounded by anger, blah blah blah. But we're trying to get to a place which is like pure magic, but the magic that is inside of us. I seem to remember for
I've just been doing some quick calculations and he's got like a little notepad. And it says,
But if we were near that tree where there's already a sinkhole type thing towards the grey, then I don't know if it would be like a weaker space in point in our reality anyway, and would be easier to get through.
Why not do it in Bodes in the Undersling? There's a sinkhole to the red. Why not
Because
do
that's
it?
in the middle of the city.
Or
There's
why not
trees
do
at
it?
the edge.
Why not do it in one of the boats out on the Absolution? Because that's a sinkhole to the blue. It's amazing.
I think we can do
Once
it everywhere.
yeah, you're trying to get to somewhere that's not actually anywhere on the map.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter where we do it.
Alright. It's just an idea. If we were going to a already weak point in reality, then it'd be easy to punch through.
I done a little bit of calculations here, and because I'm maker, yeah, and because the Invisible Sun is the purview of Vizsla, who is the source of all magic, and the Invisible Church is obviously the four pillars of our society that revere her, yeah, and so it kind of stands to reason that you're going to need one of each of the four orders. So
we've got, haven't we?
we're makers.
Yeah.
The guy with a hat.
It's
Goetic.
Goetic. You guys are. Can't remember what you are.
I can't remember what we are.
You're a weaver.
Thank
Weaver.
you.
And then there's.
There's another one. There's one without, isn't there? That's not an order.
That's what Caliban is.
Yeah, she's a without.
And then there's another one, isn't there? There's four. Because there's. And then there's Caliban, so we're missing one. I can't remember which one that is. No.
Fancies.
That's the one. Yeah, that's magic.
Is that the building block room?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have events. Do we know one?
Can you
Can we
both?
trust one?
Can you both roll a 10-sided dice, please?
One. Screw you, dice.
2.
Screw you, dice. No, we don't.
Okay, so for plot deviceanium,
That is hidden in. Roll the next.
Roland will come downstairs.
So, no, the Knights of the Name.
Mhm.
Plot devising. They're not all weavers, because he's a Goetic and he's a Knights of the Name with me. There's all different pillars, but it's just people who believe that we need to support.
Yeah.
And
Doing
good.
good for good's sake.
Exactly. So, one would think that somebody from there would be willing to help, that we could generally trust, things like that. And I've got my chappie, haven't I, who I've not used before.
You just to let you know, you do know a Goetic. Sorry, not a Goetic, a Vance.
Dennis.
No, he's a maker.
Harlequin.
No. Harlequin.
Please don't tell me 19 is a Vance.
No, 19's a demon.
It's alright.
Wouldn't that be so much fun?
No.
No, go on then, here's our Vance.
Crystal Fire. Dragonfly mask guy.
Yeah, no, Justin's right through him. I'd rather meet a complete stranger and trust them with this.
Nice to know my NPCs have got to leave a mark. Yeah, so you could go to the Knights of the Name.
Yeah. And what are we asking of these people?
Say, do you know a Vance who's powerful enough to contribute a certain amount of magic and is willing to create a chamber that will make a sinkhole in this reality outside the path of suns and hopefully to the Invisible Sun itself,
without destroying Saturn.
without destroying the whole of the the whole of the path, or the whole of this sun at least. Yeah.
Because we thought it might be a laugh. Hey!
Because we want to heal our one sick friend and then how many billion people
I
who live
want-
on the other ones?
I'm going for that.
Really,
I want to
worth
get
the
close
risk.
to what's her face. I want to feel my Vizsla.
No, but
I want
what
to
I'm
be
saying,
one
when
with
we're asking of them, what do we need to do this? What do we think we need? If we just said we need some of your magic, can you put it in a bottle for us? That's one thing. But if we're saying, can you be there at the ceremony or whatever we're doing, that's something different. Can you risk your own life for somebody you've never met? That's something different.
That you probably need them to be there,
Yeah.
just to kind of be part of a ritual or piece of long form magic.
Yeah.
They'd have to put together.
I need to put an advert out there for pants required for crazy adventure. May not come home.
Must not be stuck up.
Must not be stuck up. Idiot.
That's
Sure, we could send it out on the
On the noosphere.
noosphere.
Yeah.
Just like pants
Pina
required.
coladas, walks in the rain, possibly destroying the universe.
What could possibly go wrong?
Up for an adventure. May not come home.
Okay, doable. Doable.
I think we will do that after we've had the conversation in the morning, because we just spitball in here. Everyone else might go, no, what the fuck? Let's text Dave. So, what do you think to? Would Roland be up for boarding the shit out of a building so we could potentially not destroy the world?
So we could possibly maybe, drag the whole of reality into a sinkhole.
Oh, it's an idea.
I mean, we've teleported a pub from Ravenholme into Fartown.
Yep.
Called down a sun, called down the grey sun to this place. What could possibly go wrong?
Yep. So much could go wrong, but the thing was, like we said, you can take the easier route and travel the path, even though it's hard, or go the other way. And the other way is gonna be, it's unknown, so we're having to make it up as we go along. And this seems to make the most sense.
Okay, so I'm envisaging Stowboy going upstairs and crashing out. Dennis making a pot of wickedly strong coffee. The pair of you having just like a blueprint making montage
Yeah.
up until the small house of the night.
Yeah. And I keep him more hot chocolate because I think that'll make him happy.
Well, green magic is now doubly enhanced.
Ooh.
The misunderstood beast. The zero of notions. Just surrounded by clocks. Misunderstood beast. Gain narrative. Something perceived as a threat is no threat at all. An NPC becomes a surprising ally. Something that's
Where's the frickin' sign? This is not magic. It's not magic.
What happened? It wasn't magic.
Well, let Ross reread what he's just read to me.
the next card on the thing. Number 1 is on the green sun, which is life and motion. It's a green emphasising card, which means that green magic is kind of double enhanced. A narrative of the misunderstood beast. Something perceived as a threat is no threat at all. An NPC becomes a surprising ally. Something that seemed like it would be a threat is actually a boon. An NPC trusts the PC when they shouldn't.
I'm sorry, Dennis. Or mysterious Bisley that comes to join us and answers my newest female message if we send it. Because if Caliban wants to do this and is up for it, I can send a newest message going, fans wanted for crazy adventure. May not make it home.
Possibly hijinks. May devolve into shenanigans.
There's always shenanigans.
So next morning. Oh yeah, what we've had, you've missed. You've sort of crashed out about midnight. Dennis has brewed up a pot of wickedly strong coffee, and there's been like a blueprint writing montage of Dennis and
with a hijinks tune over the top of it.
Yakety sack. You come down. Everybody comes downstairs in the morning, and then the entirety of the lounge has got like blackboards that have just come out of nowhere, and they've got all kinds of like drawings all over them, and then blueprints kind of put all over them, and it looks like the craziest Roadrunner style machine or Wile E. Coyote style machine.
This is what happens when makers get together and make
unbridled power, unbridled creativity, and Dennis
bounces ideas off another crazy one. But there is just Dennis and Hawk just passed out like Hawk's just lying there and Dennis's feet are up on her stomach and they're just like because they're passed out.
And he's got like a roll of blueprint paper in one hand and one of the little white markers that he used to write the blueprints in the other hand.
Yeah.
And you know that whole thing where if somebody's asleep and you put their hand in a bowl of water, but he does that thing and every so often he's kind of gone to scratch his face, so he's got like lines of this white stuff.
Why do they make blueprints?
I have no idea.
This just seems really silly.
There must be
a reason
Google
why it's
this
blue.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's like paper's not blue.
Okay, Google.
Is she going to listen to you?
Okay, Google. No.
Why are blueprints blue?
On the website mentalfloss.com, they say when the two papers are exposed,
My phone set off.
the two chemicals react to form an
blue
insoluble
compound called blue ferric ferrocyanide.
Oh, that's fine.
When the blueprinting paper was covered and the light blocked by the light.
She gives the
original
right answer,
drawing.
she does not.
To find out
They both gave the same answer.
The definition of blueprint. A design plan or other technical drawing.
Hey! See, you're weird. When I want to ring Dave and you're right there, you don't do it. But anything else, it was the worst bit when we were at work. And you can just say, he was like, okay, Google, I can set my friend's phone. I can set my friend's
I'm
phone
afraid
off.
I don't understand.
It's like, how does it recognise you as well?
There's some dinner in the kitchen.
So blueprint, something to do with ferric, something.
Oh,
Back to the coach trash.
just for ages.
Just extensions.
Extra splits.
Yeah, look, I got my
I
wizard
wanted-
pockets. Yeah, I can fit my frisbee in there now, so I don't have to carry it about. Yeah, it's just extra space.
Ugh.
Never gonna get rid of this coat.
That's what Dave said to me about his leather jacket.
And has he got rid of it?
Yep. It died. It truly died. Beyond.
Well, he's a quitter then.
No, it wasn't this. No, it wasn't it. It wasn't his leather coat. He had a green hoodie that trashed, and then he had a pair of like ridiculously but really cool army trousers that you could wear over everything. But they died on him. But I think when I first met him, he lived in the combination of these clothes. But yeah, this green hoodie was.
Earlier in the week, you said that your mum had texted about green t-shirt, but she didn't. What was meant to be said?
I got because my phone wasn't charging at all.
Okay.
And so I got Juliet to send a message to my mum to send to you know that my phone wasn't working. And... Ah, that's good.
Same thing I do every night, Pinky.
Them to take over the world.
Which one?
All of them.
The Invisible Sun.
Ah!
Not take over, but at least try and travel there.
Okay, try.
Which may or may not cause the destruction of all other worlds.
So we thought you'd totally like this.
But we're not telling Roland.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Let's go. Can I teleport there?
We need you to teleport some stuff. Because basically, Dennis has described that each of these suns is both a place and a state of being. So the red sun is both a physical location but also anger. So some people have been so angry that they've just found themselves on the red sun. And the invisible sun is magic. So if one was surround himself with nothing but magic, then we might find a sinkhole there, because the doorway to the red sun was in a pub where there's a lot of anger and a lot of fights and a lot of things like that. The doorway to the blue sun is through a dreamscape. So if we surround ourselves with nothing but magic, we could possibly get to the invisible sun. And then we had the idea of doing the Cerebro from the X-Men, the big dome thing or the sphere thing. So we could put just some magic in there, but have it bounce around and reverberate so much that it kind of became more.
But we did think part of your orrery, we could take part of that out.
We also thought Dennis pointed out, which was quite a sensible comment for Dennis to be fair, that it might be the best idea not to do it in the city.
So if we could potentially move part of your orrery and encase
Okay, it's
it
going in your dinner, darling.
in a giant building, construct that means that we can amplify magic. That's what we thought of. If you were down with that.
Also, if Caliburn's down with that, because that's the one.
Because ultimately it's Caliburn's
It's just her.
decision. Because she
Because
left her
also, if
magic.
she goes to Invisible Sun and Vizsla is there and goes, "You don't believe me, you're dead," it's a bit of a problem too.
Okay, might be a forgiving. Because she's allowed her to have magic anyway, though.
Yeah. Do we know much about the personality of Vizsla?
Inscrutable and enigmatic.
Right. Here we go.
Next morning. Yeah, so we've got montage.
Oh,
of that.
Dennis turned up. MacGuffin study.
And so, if you picture the scene, you've got all of these blackboards and blueprints kind of taped up over all of the inside of the lounge. There's one over the bar, and then there's one on the ceiling. There's one on the pool table. There's one taped onto the bottom of the pool table.
Only slightly related. I went to my colleague's baby shower thing. Was her last day of leaving before pregnancy, and I was just looking around the room and went, "Why is there a picture of Ben on the ceiling?" And she's like, "Because it was weird having a picture of Ben on the wall."
Picture.
Why would there be a picture of Ben on the wall? Just one of her colleagues.
Okay.
Just laminated his face.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would there be a picture of her on the wall? Oh, at his last job, they made him like 20 of them, and he kept a few. Okay. Yeah. So carry on with your blueprints on the ceiling and things.
And Caliburn kind of comes downstairs, coffee mug in one hand, bleary-eyed. She's obviously been up all night, sort of talking. Her hair's an absolute mess. As she kind of opens the door into the lounge, and it kind of
rips open a blueprint.
she kind of just walks. Oh,
It's too early to deal with it.
But she sees me and Thingy passed out in the corner. Like, what were you up to? Me and Dennis just passed
Did
out.
she
like-
meet Dennis? Okay.
Yeah, she took us to him, didn't she?
she took you to the sofa, but she buzzed it
No,
off.
but him.
Yeah,
She's got to know of him.
she disappeared when you woke up after your encounter with the warden at the Silver.
Mm.
Left you to make your own way back. So she kind of comes over to where the peer reviewer
Passed out. True.
kind of nudges Dennis with a toe. And he goes, "What? No, I didn't. Oh, okay. Maybe I did." And kind of taps Hawk on the shoulder.
Mm.
And I thought I had a late one. She kind of squats down beside you and hands over a coffee mug.
I take the coffee mug and just be like, I don't know when I went to sleep, but caffeine hangover is bad. Need more. Please make more.
If I can find the door to the kitchen, yeah.
What did it? Oh yeah.
What happened? What?
We'll explain when everyone's up. Ideas were had, discussions were made. I think I may have arm wrestled Dennis at some point. I don't know anymore.
He's 3 foot nothing. Please tell me at least he's one.
Really strong.
Yeah, so she manages to kind of for some reason she pulls out like a Leatherman or like a Swiss Army knife from somewhere. She's wearing a t-shirt and probably pajama shorts.
Short shorts.
Yeah, and then she pulls out a Swiss Army knife and kind of cuts it and gets away in there.
And all you hear is Dennis like, make sure you keep that bit.
And breakfast is made and coffee is brewed and
I have soft fidgies.
oh,
I have soft
and then Eliana comes sort of downstairs and she's got a similar kind of what the whatever.
We have plans that might work.
Okay,
Well,
we
tell us what you think first.
I don't like, and then Eliana stops her and says, when we were travelling, there are many scary and dangerous places on the path, even of the relatively tame, fun places that Caliburn showed me. And the idea of her going to these places with no magic to defend herself, I'm opposed to it. she was all for going, but then again she's reckless and stupid at times. She kind of thumps her on the arm. So plan B, I think, is the
Is
the way to go. The invisible sun.
Okay.
This
Well,
plan B.
here is plan B.
Okay. So you're going to redecorate the pub.
We've done that, so maybe plan B point A. Yeah. Ultimately, we need and go through and explain what we discussed with Dennis, and so encapsulate shit ton of magic. We will be there and be in that state, and hopefully that may take us to the invisible. We don't know whether it's actually going to work, but it's the best idea we've got.
So you're going to put my girlfriend in a magical particle accelerator.
No,
We're all going there.
We're going in it as well.
Okay.
Not you, the rest of us will, because we all need to be there.
But the funny guy said that there has to be a Vance as well. One from each of the 4 orders.
Yeah, we will send out a
Cross
message.
that bridge when we come to it.
I will, if you're happy for us to go with this, send out a message in the noosphere. Because there's got to be some crazy person out there that's like us.
I don't think this noosphere is a good idea. I think we want somebody we trust, especially if we're going to the Invisible Sun with them. So imagine we've got to be the pillars, but we also want to go. So we've got to. This Vance has got to come too. We're not just leaving them.
Oh yeah, that's why on the message is
Yeah.
may not come home.
Yeah.
Got to be willing
But
to
I
do
want to
some
be
crazy
able to
shit.
trust them.
We
So
can interview them. I don't know. We don't know
I think-
anyone.
no.
This is
but
going to be like the interview scene from Mystery Men, isn't it?
yes.
I could be the waffler. Waffle Man!
Yes. If she talks to her body, we'll have her.
If she is a ball and ball, we'll have
There is
I think-
actually a forte called Bears and Orb, where you have a magical orb that's part of you.
Is there anyone else that we know?
Yeah, through the Knights of the Name. We can ask there will be bounces there. There will be trustable people. There will be friends of friends rather than the noosphere.
That's cool. We can WhatsApp that way. Noosphere apps that way. No, that's cool. Well, we can still send that message out, but just to the name.
Yeah. Is Christopher a Knight of the Name?
Hmm?
Is Christopher a Knight of the Name?
You don't know. He's part of the Order Anisoptera. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
So, it's a running order of things because I kept on forgetting what was where.
Yep.
What you doing? I'll draw a new card actually.
It basically, if Caliban's good with this, then we will go with it.
We didn't need to tell the travellers that we weren't going, only if we were going.
No, we just needed to turn up if we were.
Yeah.
And if we weren't there, they'd go.
And the card is the sealed door. Which
Not
is
magic.
Not magic, no, which is the 7 of Secrets.
Oh, hello.
Can we do it to a cupboard or something? Please, shadowed.
Generally, a card of ill omen, the sealed door stands in the way of victory. It keeps one from a goal. Since progression always involves change, it can, however, simply means that things don't change. And if one is in a good place when this card is turned, this can indicate that the pleasing situation will continue. Game narrative. An attempted action fails, a path is blocked, an NPC fails or takes no action, or nothing changes.
Damn it!
However,
like this, so.
No. On each one, you've got the divination meaning, you've got the game narrative meaning, and then there's the joy and despair actions. So the despair actions are an important action fails, an enemy is better protected than expected. The joy actions, the PC spell lasts longer than expected, an NPC that was going to leave does not, or a barrier holds back an enemy.
It could be a good thing. Not necessarily.
Isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's generally a bad thing, but I
Because it did say
mostly bad card.
If you're in a good position, then it will continue to be good. We're feeling good about this. I'm positive and we're good to go. We have to believe it will work. God damn it.
So what are you going to do?
Now does Caliban want to follow this through? This is the way. Well, I think the first thing that we need to do is find ourselves a band. Because ultimately, there's not a lot we can do without Roland, because he's a big integral part of like the protection spells and stuff.
And he's algoetic, we don't have any others.
So we can't.
And he's busy doing his what's it. Well, because he has got his Roland decks.
What's not the Roland deck?
We could go and ask Roland if he's aware of any Knights of the Name or trusted allies or anything like that. Who
Does he have any advances in his Roland?
yeah, basically.
His Rolodex is basically just a list of the entities that he's summoned.
Oh, it's not real people. Damn it. Okay. We could go along to the Knights of the Name headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go pee.
Do you want to carry on?
Yeah, continue. I trust you.
Kelly's character died.
So what was the name of your contact in the Knights of the Name? Matthew Driver.
Was it?
Yeah.
Really? Can't imagine I gave my name my character something name like that. I've got it written down somewhere, haven't I?
You should do. NPC bonds.
Fred.
Fred. No, that's that's the old guy that you were helping. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Oh, that's you going to. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, gonna go have a chat with Fred.
Okay.
Because he's the one who put Roland in touch with me. He's the one who supported me through Eliana coming out. He's been, just it's like Felice's in my life, just there and just helping and trust implicitly, And I don't need to know the person. If he trusts the person, I trust the person. So I don't expect him to be a Vance, or I don't think he's a Vance, I don't know. But I don't want him involved in this because he's older and possibly needs more support.
Reading what you've got on there.
But I want him to put some place to us. I don't recognise that, is it?
Yeah, I've not really worn it. Not worn it.
It's nice. See? What's on the logo?
I don't know. I'm not as keen on logos and advertising and brand plain tops. It's got
It's alright.
that on the back.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, Hattie gave it to me ages ago.
Oh, cool.
Must have been a year or two ago.
Okay, so you catch up with Fred. He's because when we've discussed about the Knights of the Name, I've always pictured their hangout as like, in Sherlock, there's the club where he goes to meet Mycroft, the Diogenes Club. It's that
Exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
very gentleman's establishments.
Yeah. Lots of roaring fires and leather armchairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine it's. Isabel sorted out her sweets and has donated that bag of sweets to you.
Oh, that's really kind. If it's alright, before I head off, can I join the walk now?
Don't worry about her picture. She was so
Oh, no.
proud of that, but you can draw in the spaces around it.
Yeah. So he's kind of he's sat there and he's got
She drew and wrote that all by herself.
a great big newspaper, and he's got a great big newspaper. Like the paper is the size of this table.
Broad sheet.
Yeah. And he kind of folds it up as you come in. Oh, stop on the man. It's been a while.
What's been going on in my life?
Pull up a chair. I'll get a cuppa.
Yes, please.
So how's things? How's the family?
Settling in well actually. How long has it been since Elaine has come out now?
2-3 months maybe.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this for a long time. Is that all the time that's really passed?
We haven't had a massive amount of downtime because over all the stuff that Dave did, that was all quite.
Yeah, I thought it was about 6 months that we were doing this.
About 6 months.
6 months. Yeah, so she's settling into her new
We may
life
have
well.
been living for 6 months, but the time that actually passes. So.
That's all right. Yeah, she's settling in well, and even started a new relationship and just developing a lot of bonds with people here, which is really good. Unfortunately, one of the people that she's really come to care for is very sick at the moment,
Didn't have the spaces in
and we've looked at various ways to help get her well.
But do you know October Rush? October, segment. Never done it.
So yeah, she's very sick at the moment, and we wanna support Eliana and a new partner and help her get better. The only way we can see to do this, or the crazy enough, the least risky way, is to try to visit the Invisible Sun.
He actually does do a tea spit.
Yes.
Which is odd because he's drinking coffee, but actually no, he doesn't. He's drinking tea, but he spits coffee. Yeah.
Okay. Now I realise this hasn't been done before, but you know, our whole premise of the Knights of the Name is supporting those who need it and doing good for the sake of good. And she really needs our help, and she is a good egg. And we wanna do this, and we're devising with some really incredible minds about the best way forward. But it seems that we need a Vance to help us. And none of our close group are Vance. And I trust you, Fred, so much, and you've never steered me wrong. And I know that if you trust somebody, they are trustworthy. And I just wanted to, not to necessarily recommend, don't need to get you involved in it, but if there's anybody you would like, you'd recommend for me to go and have a chat with, you don't have to make introductions, anything, you don't need to be involved if you don't want to be. But if you could give me any names of anybody, then I'd really appreciate it. Bearing in mind this will be a risky journey, but I'll have that conversation with the person, and it's got to be their risk to take.
Well, nothing worth doing carries no risk. I know a guy who would probably be more than willing to help. Sorry, just out of character, did you tell him any of the details about what you plan to do to get any of that? Okay.
Not for trust, but just for don't want to worry him more than he needs to worry.
Yeah. 'Cause it could go very wrong.
Yeah. And we'll talk about the details with the person in question, but
Okay.
and if you want to know them, I'll tell them to you.
I know a guy. He's very direct and to the point, and I can probably I will actually know he will do whatever's needed. He's 5th order, I think, 5th degree, 4th or 5th. He's powerful Vance, and he's a knight, like you and I. Me and him go way back, and he specialises in, well, dimensional travel and that kind of manipulation, much like that lad with the tin legs that you said, one of your friends. You said he was quite adept at.
Yeah. There's been some issues there as well, but I think we've dealt with most of those, haven't we?
You're teleporting, turning you
Into a chicken.
to a chicken.
What are you on about?
You turned into a chicken.
What made you go white hair and stuff?
Yeah. So
Changed my hair a bit.
And now you're human.
I'm a real boy.
That's human anyway.
You're a lot more metal than you
You're
are
more
now.
human than human. More human.
More human than human. More human than human.
Just feel a
That's
bit
what was
lighter,
going
you
in
know?
my head too.
Yeah. He's quite direct and to the point, and I will have a conversation about him, and then I'll let you know. But I think he will definitely say yes.
Okay, well, I want to explain every detail every detail that we can to him, and really make him fully aware of what he's signing up to as much as we can do.
If I can,
Sorry?
Doesn't have to say yes.
No, doesn't have to say yes.
I've got your contact details, so I'll have a word with him. He's due here. What day is it? He kind of pulls back his sleeve, and he's got like about 9 different watches. One of them is literally the whole cartoon sundial on a wrist strap. It's a digital watch, bless you. And then there's all sorts of other different watches. He kind of taps a load of them. He's actually due here a little bit later on today, so I can do that. If it's okay for me to give him your information.
Yeah. Is he going to send Christopher away?
I hadn't thought about
Ah, don't think that. Because don't do it.
No.
Bad GM.
Get the Isabel no.
that. Do we need to sign? Do we need to sign on the other side to say badgy?
It's got water sprayer. Stop.
Or little Isabel going, no. Yeah, the face.
Okay, so you head back to the Rose, I presume. Yeah. And as you get back to the Rose, parked up outside are 5 or 6 of the floating stone horses.
Fuck's sake. Yes,
And then the
After
credits
Dennis.
roll.
After Dennis.
Sorry, it was only a short.
What are you up to tomorrow, Sweet Pea?
Looking after Juliet's kids for a bit because she has to go do some court stuff. Other than that, not sure. Relaxing, might juggle,
What time do
probably
you
make a
normally get up?
pancake at some point.
time do you normally get up?
Around 7, 8ish.
If we popped by,
Are you sure you're not a teenager anymore?
I'm not now, am I? If we popped by,
I found myself, I had to put myself to bed this morning. The sun rose, and it's just like, hang on.
That's not right.
I don't remember that happening. Yeah, I just ended up really didn't notice the time. It just didn't exist. It shouldn't have. The time shouldn't have passed that quick. I was just
well, they say
dancing.
time is meaningless, lunchtime doubly so.
Yeah.
So,
It's just an
Oh,
illusion
sorry,
anyway.
yes.
so yeah. Snowball.
Yeah. I think I started the whole making right with the child by starting this journey of helping. I keep forgetting her name. Oh my goodness, Caliban.
Yeah.
Caliban. But I don't think I'm significant steps on from that, so I don't think that's steps on the journey.
Yeah.
In terms of Thing of Despair, like obviously this is a new gateway opened up to us, which is kind of interesting and could be very joyful, but I'm also very, very scared. So maybe a bit of both. Yeah, a bit of both. You don't have both.
You don't have both.
You do, I can see it.
Hmm?
I can see it.
Yeah, I know, but you either get one or the other.
Oh, okay. We used to get both.
Yeah, for different reasons. If I do a GM shift, I'm over there. So, just draw a card for it, and is that a good card or a bad card for you? The unwelcome child.
What?
What's the right up on it?
That looks like Sarah's tower is not there.
Game narrative. Disaster strikes, a curse or plague ravages the area. An NPC has deceived someone. Someone is exiled. An NPC infiltrates a location under false pretenses to do something awful. A child is involved in something of import.
I would say it's bad.
Oh, magic.
I gave you a and then this one. And Hawk.
All good, because I had the best time with Dennis. Who knows what happened that evening? Only they do.
You're going to have Dennis babies.
No, I'm not going to have babies, but good maker times were had.
Okay, any progress along your arcs?
No, not really. Not like,
What arcs do you have?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have them written down anywhere, so I'm kind of a bit.
Your main arc was make the perfect drug.
Yeah.
I am actually going to give you 2 acumen
Okay.
for the session that you had, because although all the blueprints that you've drawn up have been about making magical machinery, the way that I see it basically is that you're going to take one of the orbs of Astraeus's orrery, line the inside of it with effectively magical mirrors,
Yeah.
which will concentrate and distill the small amount of magic that you
You are the
detonate
fairest of them.
detonate in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And that's
Around
going
the
to
outside and with dampness.
that's going to power up and amplify and reverberate the magic around it like an echo chamber, effectively. So it creates a sinkhole. Some of those principles, in theory, you could use to your alchemic distillations.
Ooh yeah.
In my opinion.
Yep.
So I am going to award you 2 acumen as per a step on that one there.
Sweet. Unbeknown.
And we worked out that Roland has been updating his Roland decks, which is a bit like a Pokédex, but it's just a list of all of the angels and demons that he's got the names of that he can summon. And then we also worked out that you could potentially build a goetic who summoned entities and creatures bound their names into crystal spheres, and that for rapid resummoning. So then, effectively, when they wanted to bring these things out to battle, you take one of these crystal spheres and then throw it down and go, "As rare as the Ninth Circle of Hell, I choose you." And you could make a Goetic as a Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
And somebody nearly reached for the X card on that comment, but
Is Ronan turning into a Pokemon trainer?
No, but you could create one of those.
Hang on, can you do that with bullets?
paint all with bullets red and white.
No.
Shoot him at bang bang, I choose you.
No. You can put a summon on a bullet.
You can't put a summon on a bullet, but you can put a demon trap on a bullet. They did it in Supernatural.
Yeah.
Season 15.
I
They're
thought
up to
they.
they're up to season 15
I
now.
thought they were cancelling it.
Yeah, it keeps on going to be cancelled, but somebody made a deal with
I'm
somebody
halfway.
else.
Well, I'm almost through season 2, so I've got a little way to go.
I got lost.
Thank you very much, folks.